fantasy? You coming in to join us? Let's talk some
We got fantasy football. I tell you what, Peyton Manning, obviously, I'm in the Bienvenu family fantasy football. Like me and my two kids. Well, my son Bryce had first pick, took Peyton. Nice. Smart. Yeah. I got Drew Brees, and my other son has
come on in, bro.
He took Nick Foles after last year's great year. But anyway, look, Peyton Manning, you look at his numbers, 21 of 26 yesterday. Yeah. 242 yards. It's not even a 300-yard game. That's why I don't think he's going to break all those records this year, because the numbers aren't going to be Star Wars numbers this year, I don't think. 143.9 rating. I mean, almost perfect. So, as Jared said, if he goes into Seattle next week and can have an almost perfect game, we got a chance.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen against Seattle's defense.
Yeah. Yeah, especially at Seattle was the toughest place to play in America. So very, very difficult place. And here's an interesting thing, and this is why I had Phillip Rivers did a great job yesterday, but, one of the guys that did well, also Antonio Gates at tight end.
Oh, man, did he? Yeah.
Wow.
The hat trick yesterday?
7 receptions, 96 yards, 3 touchdowns, did an amazing job. So if the Broncos want to win, they definitely have to go to Julius Thomas a whole lot during that game and attack the Seahawks. Linebackers and secondary there.
I mean, Gates is one of those guys where he would have been a top fantasy pick a few years ago, but I mean, with Graham, Vernon Davis, Julius Thomas now, he's probably way down in the pack, but came up with a huge day yesterday.
Yeah, speaking of huge days, how about Aaron Rodgers, 346 yards and 3 touchdowns in the comeback win over the Jets. So very, very great game.
They were down 19 to the Jets.
Yeah. To the Jets.
Did the Jets they called a timeout on their game-tying touchdown. Well, they say they didn't.
Right.
But confusion at the end. Somebody's screaming timeout. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers, afterwards, Rex Ryan, the coach of the Jets, said Aaron Rodgers is by far the best quarterback in the NFL. Really? And I think Broncos fans might disagree with that a little bit.
So.
But Aaron Rodgers is.
But he did have that was a whale of a game.
He's top 3.
Yeah, he's definitely top 3.
Who's on the downside?
On the downside, how about Reggie Bush? Only had 6 carries, 26 yards against the Panthers, and only had 2 receptions for 6 yards.
Had a great game in the first game, and then kind of
didn't do much.
And speaking of guys who had a great game but just stunk, yesterday, Matt Ryan, 231 yards passing, that's all right. Okay. 1 touchdown, that might be okay. 3 interceptions.
Right.
Ooh.
3 interceptions against the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Broncos play them in Week 16. Ooh, that'll be a tough game for the Broncos. They're a real good defense.
Well, the funny thing is the NFL, not funny, but every game is different.
Sure.
It's not like, this guy had a great game in Week 1. He's surely going to have a great game in Week 2.
Every week. Yeah.
Right. That doesn't matter. Each game is its own entity.
Yeah.
And so that's why you say, 11 penalties against the Chiefs. The Broncos can't do that. They may go into Seattle and not have 1 penalty. Who knows? So every week, a different week. You cannot, your fantasy team, you can't base on the previous week.
Right. You can't do that. But there are some guys that you can pick up that can help out your fantasy team. And Lionel, I'm here to help you.
Well,
I'm
please.
here for you, brother. I'm here for
you.
Do it. So Mark Ingram, a guy, New Orleans
running back for the Saints.
Had 11 carries, 81 yards, and a touchdown. He's doing a lot better than he did last year. So if you're looking for a running back, if you're in a deep league, that's a guy to get. And also Nile Davis, Kansas City Chiefs running back.
Right.
Now, the Broncos defense has been playing better, but they did give up 2 rushing touchdowns to Nile Davis. Had 79 yards. That's a guy who you definitely should pick up, especially if Jamal Anderson is going to be out for a while. That's a guy you want to get right now.
Yeah, Jamal Charles is out. He was hurt, so Davis may be the guy to lead that team. And also, when you look at injuries happening, you always got to be, in Deshaun Jackson. Is now looks like he's out. RG3,
maybe out for the year.
What about Kirk Cousins? Should you pick this guy up?
Pick up Kirk Cousins.
Did you see his game yesterday?
Yeah.
What I'm hearing all day yesterday and on Twitter and everywhere is that Kirk Cousins is better suited to run that Redskins offense than RG3
is. But here's the thing, though. He played against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is like playing against a freshman team. Be careful. It's not exactly a #1 squad out there. It's the Jaguars. So be careful when you pick him up. He's a great guy, has some talent, but again, caution when you pick that guy up.
All right, man. So sounds good.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Justin.